I'm open.
I'm open.
I'm open.
Speaking of openings, Andrew, just go ahead and do our unboxing. We're going to start with
Let's do it.
a very special unboxing.
I got a little, I'm not going to show my home address, but I have a box.
Smart.
That was a close call. Our listeners are, rabid fans. They're going to come to our house. All right. Got a little package in the mail. We're going to see what's in here. I already know what it is. Referenced it on an earlier pod app. The real fans know. Jeez. Oh, baby. Oh. Let's go.
Oh.
Wow.
This is clean. I'm sorry.
That is.
Holy shit.
That is delightful.
The sticker's staying on all episode, by the way. Gotta do
pop that on.
Make the change.
Gotta pop this shit on.
What a happy and celebratory time.
God, that's so cool.
All right. I feel like I just got signed,
Wow.
Yeah. At the press conference. Let's go. Oh, this is so clean. All right. Now, Cam, Brock, I know you're listening. Next time, or just anyone really, next time you say that we're not an Alley Cats pod, I got Exhibit A right here. All right. Mm-hmm. So we're an Alley Cats pod. Let it be known. Okay. Let's be perfectly clear on one thing. If we're anything, we are nothing if not an Alley Cats pod. So
absolutely.
Now that we've got that out of the way, Ryan, if you put a shirt on.
Oh, he's working on it.
He's in the act. I love how we can kind of see him. Oh, there you go.
All right. Couple buttons, I'm done.
Okay. I like it.
This is beautiful.
This is way too
that
tight.
is dope.
Oh, you missed it, Ryan.
Yeah,
we got a little interesting Velcro situation here. I gotta loosen. I have a big head. Oh yes.
There we go.
Let's go. Okay, now we're ready.
Ryan, you kind of look like you're at a beach photo shoot.
Oh, that's just me. I'm beach vibing.
Yeah.
Got my LA vibes.
All right. Well, let's let me share my screen. Welcome, everyone.
It's way too loud.
Welcome, everyone, to the 2022 regular season awards. That's really it for the welcome. I'm going to pop open this slideshow. But yeah, we're ready to go with our official choices for Ring of the Regular Season Awards. We've got fun awards. We've got serious awards. We've got some that are decided already. We've got some to debate live here for you. But before we begin, let's toast to a magnificent season of AUDL Frisbee.
Well done.
Great job, everybody.
And just a reminder that we never do. And if you're listening to this award, you probably know who we are, but we should go around just to do a quick introduction and, maybe what we're drinking. So I'll start. I'm Ryan, and I'm drinking a Luna Nuda Italia Pinot Grigio. Nice white wine to cheers to the season. It was a great season this year. A lot of good things happened.
Well, I'm Joe, and I am drinking Segura Viutas, a champagne or a brut. Actually, no, a cava, actually. And I'm also toasting to a fantastic season.
Okay. Wow. Tough act to follow, but I'm Andrew, and I'm drinking. I found this at the grocery store before we started the call here, and it's described as it has a bad way of describing it. It's like carbonated wine, and I was like, I guess that's technically what it is, but I hadn't heard anyone describe it that way. But I'm drinking a carbonated white wine. I don't know the brand is
kind of gross.
Yeah, it's called the Bubbles. Underwood. I don't know, guys. No free ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Got
I'm
that.
Sam, and this is Peanut, and I'm drinking an Arizona Arnold Palmer because I didn't go to the store.
Pour one out.
Yeah, all over the
Arnie.
laptop. Pour it
Yeah.
out. All right, well, let's get into it. Oh, I didn't realize there were transitions. Okay.
I deleted a bunch of them, so this should be
Oh,
there should
cool.
only be a couple.
Cool. Here's our table of contents. God damn it, this fucking.
So here's our table of contents. We're going to
Yes.
start out with some fun awards. We're going to move into some serious awards. That's pretty much it. There's only 2 categories in this whole thing. Yeah, we got the first fun award coming up right after this. I wonder what it could be.
Thank you for that. Let's do it. Welcome to the Fun Awards.
Fun awards. Woo woo.
We're starting each section with an inspirational quote. So here we have, "Just play, have fun, enjoy the game," said by Michael Jordan. And that, of course, is, there's actually a basketball player from the 90s named that. So it's not the present day wind chill player, just to clarify. Though I'm sure he does play, have fun, and enjoy the game.
You might have said.
I heard him say that last week. Actually, I think.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
So I don't know who said it first in that case. Could be a misattributed.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
All right, our very first award, the Lives at Home Award.
Yeah, someone want to give a brief description of the what's so special about this award?
What it takes to bring this one home to your parents' house.
Andrew, I think you got this.
Oh man, I had a script for this, and I'm going off script.
Wow.
This award goes to a player who does not live not at their parents' home. If you catch my drift. This is a player who despite all the options, in a city, young guy, could go anywhere he wants in the world, still lives at home with his parents. And you know what? Who could blame him? It's a cool pad. We've gone there, we've played beer pong there. So, at the end of the day, who could blame the guy? It's a great spot. But
I wonder who this could go to.
Without further ado, the Lives at Home Award goes to our very own friend of the program, Everest Shapiro.
Shapiro.
Everyone give it up.
At home.
Wow.
Give it up.
Congratulations, Everest Shapiro.
Just what a way to kick off our award show.
What a wonderful night this is already starting out to be.
Yeah. Moving on to the next award. God, I love this award. Donkey Brain Play of the Year. These plays, you see them and you're like, what's going on? Is this a professional sport? Is this a real sport that we're watching? It turns out, Frisbee's not, but these plays, Donkey Brain of the Year. Let's see some of the nominees for these plays.
All right, here are our nominees. We've got a play from the Atlanta Hustle and the Austin Soul and the Colorado Summit.
All right, so I'll go through some of this, or the specific plays. For the Hustle, there was a play this year where it was the guy tried to do a clap catch celebration, and he caught it over his head and then let it go. And looking at it, he may have caught it, he may have not. Let's watch the play.
So the play speak for itself.
Oh, God.
Oh, good Lord.
For the clap catch and the goal.
That's pretty donkey brain.
I would call that donkey brain
Look
myself.
how long he had it for. Ugh.
Yeah. It almost looks like he bobbled it, But yeah, that was called a drop on the field.
All right.
Pretty donkey
Next,
brain.
we have the Austin Soul with their contribution. So to set this up, this is coming off of a stoppage with the Legion about a yard from scoring. And the Soul have set up sort of their end zone kind of zone D to stop like an out of timeout play. So let's see how this unfolds.
So, one more context clue: that 10-yard
So
line
setting
is
there-
the goal line. So all they need to do is cross that 10-yard line.
End zone, defensive zone set.
Yeah, so basically they don't care if Houston catches it, but he's going to try to jump in.
Oh man, but it just
That's pretty donkey brain.
Beautiful.
Oh,
That's
oh
pretty
my
donkey brain.
That's pretty donkey brain.
Because that's just a
Oh.
straight
They
up
don't care if Houston catches
mistake.
it, but he's going to try to jump in.
instead of like trying to celebrate. That's just like,
Yeah.
anyway. Speaking of straight up mistakes.
Be running
that?
full speed and then suddenly stop. Yeah.
And then if you run into them, it's a foul. Yep.
We've got the Summit contribution here. So this is an end of game situation. The Summit just have to
Right here, clock
run out 12 seconds of the clock, so they really just need 2 completions. And
Oh, he's out of bounds.
that is out of bounds.
Wow. Yeah, he did.
Like super out of bounds.
Yeah, like very out of bounds. So
Who was that went out of bounds? Is that like a rookie? Somebody who's
no,
only played a few
believe it or
games?
not, that was former
You might
MVP
think that.
Jonathan Nethercutt.
You might
So-
think that.
This is the line right here, and he's just like several yards past it, thinking that that's the line for some reason.
Yeah.
That's
I
tough.
guess you could blame the Summit field, hard line versus soft line, but it's fourth quarter.
did-
You know,
You
you've
know
been
what you
playing
could
the whole
also
game.
blame it on? Donkey brains.
There you go.
Donkey brain. It wound up not mattering. The shred got off a Hail Mary. Excuse me. The shred got off a Hail Mary, but didn't complete it. So
Yeah.
we have this play, donkey brain, this play, donkey brain, and this play, pretty donkey brain. What are we thinking?
Well, here's what I'll say about the Nethercutt play. I mean, not only did it give the shred another shot, I mean, like it would have iced the game if he had just caught a pass, basically, and he just went out of bounds, and it gave the shred a look in the end zone, and it was pretty scary. I mean, that could have won the shred the game. It didn't, so maybe that detracts a little bit. I think the hustle play also, that game wound up going to overtime, right? So
Yeah.
also could have iced the game. Did they wind up scoring later on that point, or did Dallas
did.
punch it in?
They
So they
did.
scored anyway. So, you know, maybe the effects weren't too terrible. I think the soul play is inexcusable. I mean, that I think it encapsulates everything about like what this award is about. It is the most documented. Leave someone wide open.
I was waiting for you to finish, Elu, because I didn't know where you're going with it, but I 100% agree. There's something about the Soul video, like rewatching it, and it just like it's off a timeout, like it's so slow. Like as a viewer, I was watching the game live, and you just see the handler walk in, and you're like, "That's the end zone line. Like they can. Are they gonna guard him? No, they're not. Oh, and then I vote personally. I vote for the Soul play. I think that was the donkeyest of the brains of all of the year so far.
I also love this soul play because, on the hustle and the summit plays, you got one person being donkey brained, but with the soul, you've got an entire team being donkey brained.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I love that. Also, the offensive handler, I love how slow he walked, trying to be a little bit inconspicuous, and it actually just worked. And I think that only works if the team you're playing has a lot of donkey brains.
Yeah. I love how they clearly were doing some like some flashy zone thing that they had like practiced, and they were like
Yeah.
super stoked on it.
Those
Like
defenders are just in like the most athletic position. Like, I'm ready. Oh, God damn it.
that is so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you guys said it all. I think all 3 plays are pretty hilarious, but the soul one really takes the cake. Also the hustle play and the summit play are like honest mistakes, like, oh, I'm just trying to celebrate, or oh, I thought that was the line. But this one's just like, are you awake? Like, what are you doing? So yeah, with that, we're gonna announce that the winner is the Austin Soul. Congrats, Austin Soul, on the donkey brain play of the
Congratulations.
year.
You officially have donkey brains.
Beautiful. All right. Now, here's a fun one. We got
Ooh.
celebration of the year.
Okay.
Ooh.
And I've got videos for these too, but the nominees are Reese Bowman for his famed beer chug at the Breeze Stevens Field. Then we've got Alex Atkins for getting stuck in the net. And then we've got Seth Ferris for his legendary anti-gravity spike, whatever you want to call it.
Got
I'm still wowed by it.
Two friends of the pod nominated here. So very impressive to everyone nominated for this category.
Yeah. Can we call Atkins an acquaintance of the pod? Because we did shove a camera in his face on the sideline that one time.
I think that's doable. An acquaintance of the pod.
That's enough to be a friend, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here is Bowman's. So this is an end of the half situation.
Into the crowd, all the sides. There's a deflection and a catch.
I mean, that's awesome.
Sprints right over, grabs the beer, chugs. If you missed our Reese Bowman episode, the backstory about this is a fan was heckling Reese, saying that, I bet you won't catch this. You won't catch this. And he's like, I bet you beer I will. And he catches it and he runs straight to the fan. Fan was ready. Fan had the beer out, chugs the beer. Oh, great.
Unreal.
Great all around celebration.
And he's pointing him like the second he's like, he hasn't even gotten up and he's pointing at the dude.
Yeah, he was
beer
looking for it
reached
immediately.
out. Yeah.
Incredible. Next we've got Atkins.
Yet to throw an incompletion this season. And that streak stays alive as Alex Atkins.
I don't know what exactly he was trying to do.
I thought he was going to be leaving the premises.
So he just sort of climbs to the top and then stops.
Okay.
And then
it's a nice net.
Friend here. It is a nice net. Another friend of the pod. We've got Seth.
Seth Ferris calling it in the end zone.
Woo!
It jumps.
I mean, that's so cool.
Oh, I almost forgot about the kick spike at the end. Just like perfectly on the foot. Without even looking. Just
dude, what?
Boom.
That's great.
That's
inside knowledge. I asked him about this. I asked him about it and I was like, do you practice this? And he's like, no, I just kind of did it. And I was like, are you gonna do it again? He's like, nope.
Yeah, we didn't we ask him on the pod when we came on?
Yeah,
he was like,
you're right.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, I don't know what happened. It looks so smooth. It looks like it is like the video's played in reverse. You know what I mean?
I was gonna
like
say
it just doesn't look real. It looks alien. Like the dude is an alien.
Yeah, and Ryan brings up a great point. The kick spike afterwards just makes it even better. Just up to there and straight down.
So casual too.
Just a shout out in a recent game, he kind of faked everyone out. He put his hand out like he was gonna do it again, and he went like this, and the disc wouldn't come up, like it was stuck to his hand, and then he threw it on his butt, and it was pretty cool.
Okay.
That's great.
Love that. That.
Yeah, so I'll get started and say my piece. I think the beer chug is probably the funniest. Getting stuck in the net, creative, also pretty funny. But just the difficulty and execution on Seth's celebration sells it for me. I think personally, I'm rolling with that one with my vote.
Okay, I'll speak up. I'll say they all kind of have. I think they're great choices because they all bring a little something different. Like Reese's was very much spur of the moment, but before the play, it was kind of planned out. Maybe he was kind of thinking in the back of his head. Alex Atkins, that just looks like he didn't even know what he was doing. He just like, I'm gonna do something. I don't know. I'm gonna run in this net, and he was like, okay, I'm gotta abort this. This isn't working. Stop. And then Seth, like, I don't think he gave like a single thought about it, and it just happened. So I think we have all very different kind of flavors of like what a celebration can be. And I think they're all top notch. What I'll say about the beer chug, it would be my favorite if he just downed the dude's entire beer. Like, and I get, whatever, I'm a Frisbee player. I have to play more Frisbee, we get it, whatever. But if you really wanted it to like sell it all the way, I think if he slammed the whole beer, I don't know if that dude's beer was like $10 or whatever, but like that would have been awesome. I think that's would have put that one over the edge for me personally. I think I got to go with Seth's thing. Just watching that thing again, like my goodness, what on earth? I've never seen a Frisbee like do stuff like that. Very cool.
Seth Ferris did the coolest thing I've ever seen another human being do, let alone just on the Frisbee field. That's the coolest I think anybody could ever get. And I don't even know what else to say about it. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I love Alex Atkins' celebration too. Getting stuck in the net, now that's original. I love it. But the anti-gravity spike, it just, it's in its own tier.
I want to shout out Reese for the beer chug celebration. I think he stands alone as second place in this category. The storyline behind it, kind of having a heckler call you out and actually like, showing up and really making a play. But what's been said about Seth Ferris anti-gravity spike, like that thing is so cool. Like I could watch that like 100 times in a row.
Yeah.
So I think that's the clear winner.
There we go.
I tried it so many times. It didn't work any of them.
How many times does it spin? His arm is so long.
Let's watch it. Let's watch it again.
Yeah, we need a slow-mo.
Ferris calling it.
All right, hold on. Speed. Very slow. All right.
In
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh my God.
Wow.
What the hell?
Could you imagine being that smooth at just like in life?
Anything? No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the winner is Seth Ferris. That's
Congrats.
another.
Congratulations.
That's another unanimous choice.
Cheers.
But great nominees all around.
Seriously.
Fantastic nominees.
Tough field this year. Good luck next year to all those
Absolutely.
celebrators.
Get practicing. So now we've got our fourth award, which is the Underworld Award. And I've written a little description because this one is not self-explanatory, but this is to honor those with the bravery and gall to post negative numbers on the stat sheet in the yardage column. It's a rare breed that can do that, and we just want to say, wow, I'm impressed. Where's the nominee thing? There it is.
Look again, maybe.
And the nominees are
Beautiful.
2 people without pictures, likely because they didn't play that much and that's why they have negative yards. But we've got Dean Culver of the Thunderbirds, who I believe led the league in negative all-purpose yards. Then we've got Joel Caswell of the Nitro, who had negative 69 throwing yards. He did have positive overall yards, though.
Tough.
Then we have Matt Gucho-Hannes of the Flyers, who has nearly 3,000 all-purpose yards, but somehow negative 277 receiving yards, which is just so
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So
So
how is that possible?
what do we want to honor here? Do we want to honor the true? So Dean played 3 games, Joel played 7 games, and then Matt played, I think, the full. No, he missed 1 or 2, but pretty much the full
played
season.
10 games.
Yeah, 10. So do we want to honor the true negative, the negative 69, or just the bizarrely negative number for a really good player?
I think Matt Johannes runs away with this award just with posting 3,000 total yards.
Almost
3,000 total yards.
It was over 3,000 in throwing, but then he dropped below it after the negative receiving.
Yeah, that's an insane stat to have 3,200 throwing yards and minus 300 receiving yards. So in my opinion, I think he takes it.
Yeah, I think it's I think he has the more difficult task because he's like a player that his team's really relying on, and he's getting a lot of minutes and getting a ton of throwing yards and impacting his team, generally positively. I would say Matt Gujohannes is like, I think of him as like one of the better Frisbee players in the country, and to see him with these stats, I'm like, that's crazy. It really kind of gives me pause, next time you're looking at the stat sheet and counting stats with throwing yards. I think it really reminds me that it's important to think about what role they kind of have on the team, and but even still, how does that happen? That's crazy. What a really interesting, bizarre kind of stat line to have. I guess I go with Gooch just because his name's Gooch, at the end of the day.
Definitely, that's the coolest stat line of any player I think out there this season. And I think he deserves this victory, but I think it would be funnier if I voted for Dean Culver because he ended the season with negative 18 yards. So, Dean, I'm going to give you the nod here.
Love it. Yeah, this is tough because I got to think about what I feel embodies sort of the spirit of this award the most. And I think that's probably Gooch, because like you were talking about, Andrew, playing a whole season and actually being like a very important contributor, but also, prioritizing getting negative yards on the stat sheet. That's just really impressive dedication. So I'm going to vote for Matt as well, and that will make him our official winner of the Underworld Award.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Well done.
Probably the most important award he's ever won.
Yeah,
probably.
Bring to that.
All right. This is a big one. Frisbee Twitter. Comeback Player of the Year. So Frisbee Twitter is sort of where we spend all of our time these days. And we want to acknowledge the players who bravely returned to Twitter or went for the first time. I don't even know.
No, they came back. I think that we have a few nominees, maybe, I don't know, but I know one of them for sure had a Twitter, deleted it, and then came back with a crazy name, recently changed the name to get rid of all the numbers. So this specific player I'm referencing is definitely a comeback.
Let's get into the nominees. So we have one nominee, and that's Cameron Brock, formerly known as @Cameron8243548961453, but now known as @Cameron E. Brock. He's got a great bio, a period, and then he's got 5 people that he's following, and for some reason one of them is us, and then he's got 13 followers. So
I actually would like to make a correction here. He now follows 16 people.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
I took the screenshot this morning.
Yeah, it is updated since.
Damn, he's been
active.
Yeah, he went on a big follow spree today.
Wow,
really last minute push for this award.
Yeah,
well, I tell you what, Cam, it was worth it. Our winner of the Frisbee Twitter Comeback Player of the Year is Cameron Brock. Congrats to Mr. Brock.
Congratulations, Cam.
Yeah, and only Twitter is this really referencing. Nothing else.
Yeah. Moving on. Oh, this is a big one. Award number 6.
This is
the
huge.
Handsome Devil Award. Who gets us sweating the most as we watch them sweating? Let's get into the nominees. Ryan, do you want to list off our nominees?
Yeah. We've got some handsome devils here. From the Colorado Summit, we've got Matthew Jarvis AG, who recently got a haircut. So it depends on, how you fancy long hair versus short hair. But I think he looks great in both haircuts. From the Flyers, we've got Alex Davis. That guy, his photos on Instagram and Twitter, he's got some people sweating out there while he's sweating. Another appearance from a Colorado Summit player, future, current, and former friend of the pod, Quinn Finer. that guy, Sam,
Good.
you remember seeing him in person at Sobo
Oh, man.
at the bar? Dude, that
Dude,
guy,
how could I
he got me
forget?
sweating. Andrew, you want to introduce the next guy? I know he's a favorite of yours.
Yeah, well, I've been on the beat with the Aviators this year, and I just had to give a nod to an Aviator, Michael Keoy, team captain. We can get into the deliberation as to why he's there, but I think it speaks for itself. And who wants to announce the last, but certainly not least? Should I go for it? I mean, it's Lepler.
Do it.
Yeah.
Not only is he the voice, not
handsome.
only is he pleasing on the ears, but man, he's definitely some eye candy in the booth there as well. He's got that ESPN polish. That's just undeniable. So Evan Lepler, the final nominee.
Yeah, I'm sweating looking at his photo right now.
I mean, we've got some seriously handsome devils here, all 5 of them, differently handsome in their own way. I just want to give my congratulations to each and every one of the nominees in this category. You're all beautiful, especially you, Lepler. And I think we should just take a moment to appreciate what we've got here. We've got a great list of nominees.
Yeah, I know we've got we put our podcast up on Spotify, but if you're listening to Spotify, now's your chance. Switch over to YouTube and take a gander at these fellas, so you can really follow along with us here. If you don't already know, you gotta take a look, follow along. Does anyone want to kick off the deliberation? I think we have some great options.
I just want to say one more thing. If you're an AUDL player who's listening and you think you got snubbed, this was a tough list to narrow down to 5.
Yeah,
we had a lot of players who just got us sweating, and it was tough. I'll just say that.
Definitely.
So if you're not on here, just know you probably deserve to be on here. Maybe work harder for the next season and you'll get on here. Send us a DM and you'll definitely get on here.
Yeah, for sure. I'll start the deliberations. I think a category like this with so much amazing talent, there's nothing negative to say about any of these beautiful boys. So I'll just go ahead and say that my personal favorite would be Alex Davis. Not only is he really fast and good at scoring goals, but just incredibly handsome, just some eye candy for sure. I will say that whenever I'm running sprints, I think about Alex Davis and I'm like, okay, I got to channel Alex Davis. And then like midway through the sprint, I'm like, oh my God, he would have fucking toasted me. I'm so slow. But anyway, that's my guy. He's beautiful.
I'll go next. All of these boys are just so handsome. I really struggled to pick just one, but I think there's one that stands above the rest in my eyes specifically, and that's Evan Lepler. God, he's just a handsome devil. Arguably best smile in Ultimate too. So that's my pick.
Well, personally, I think Quinn is finer than Weiner. So,
Wow.
That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll go off of that. I mean, the Summit are, a new team this year, obviously. So I tune into their first game and I'm like, what is this team? What's going on? And I'm like, damn, these dudes are handsome. Like, it's undeniable. And the one, I think it says a lot that you're able to stand out amongst a bunch of handsome fellas. Quinn Finer, I was like, who's this dude? I'd never even heard of you, but damn, he's handsome. He was just kind of peacocking around the field, because he knows he's so handsome, and I'm like, it takes a lot on a team like that. So he kind of caught my eye. But I will say, Michael Keoy, let's talk some Keoy here. He's not as maybe youthful as Alex Davis, but he's got something that the rest of these guys don't have. And maybe you could argue Lepler, but I mean, he's established, he's a veteran. He's got his career and he can take care of you, It's a different kind of handsome. He's emotionally intelligent. He'll listen to you and take care of your needs and get layout blocks while it's happening. Lead a frisbee team. Michael Keough kind of has that dad energy that I think, just really is just a different kind of flavor. So I think Keough is really up there. But that said, I saw I was scrolling on Twitter, and how sometimes if someone likes a tweet, it like shows up in your feed. So I saw that Alex Davis had liked a tweet, and it was like hotel sex be different because you can squirt off the balcony. I was like, whoa. So I have to pick Alex Davis. He's forced my
Beautiful.
hand.
All right.
That's a great reason too.
I love the reasoning.
Yeah.
Well, that's a majority. So we got to say congratulations to everyone, but especially Alex Davis squirting off the balcony as our handsomest devil in the AUDL.
A well-deserved victory.
Round of applause for Alex Davis.
Alex squirting off the balcony, Davis.
This is the best podcast on Spotify, hands down.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry for blowing up your spot, man, but everyone can see that shit.
All right, Ryan, introduce us to the Jameis Winston Award.
The Jameis Winston Award. For those of you who are not fans of the NFL, a few years ago, Jameis Winston threw for over 50 touchdowns, which in the NFL does not happen that often. But in the same season, he also threw 30 interceptions, which also doesn't happen a lot. So basically, this award goes out to people who just fucking sling it. Like they're throwing assists, but they don't care if it hits the ground. And there's a few players in this league that definitely excel above the rest when it comes to throwing assists and throwing turns. So let's go to the nominees.
Speaking of handsome devils, these pictures, Ryan.
God.
These are something. Another
Dang, what award are we doing?
Oh. Let's change all the awards. Let's just say who's handsomest.
Somebody else did the nominees.
All right. I'll read the nominees off. We've got Jonathan Nethercutt with a very handsome picture here. He has 58 assists and 35 throwaways. We've got Brandon, aka Lotto Van Dusen, on the LA Aviators. He's got 46 assists to go with 31 throwaways. And then our third and final nominee is Joe Cubitt of the Detroit Mechanics with 45 assists and 40 throwaways.
Wow.
So Ryan said it all. These are people who are slinging disc on the field. There's not much else to it.
Ryan, where did you get that picture of?
Yeah, where did you get these?
Both Nethercutt and actually I think all three of these photos I got from their individuals' Instagram. So they posted these photos to be shared with the world. So
I would too if I looked like that in the photo.
Oh my God.
Man, Brandon's looking like a 90s grunge rocker in that photo, and I'm here for it.
Looks like the guy from the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, straight up. What's the dude's name? I haven't seen a movie in Oh man,
getting hot. All right. Well, anyway,
who wants to start off the discussion?
I will. I'll just throw my opinion out there, and I think that we have a clear winner here in Joe Cubitt. Not only the most throwaways, but just quarterbacking the worst team in the league. Like that'll do it. He's out there putting up stats, but he'll have to throw it away just because he has to do something to make that offense run. So he has my vote.
Yeah, I agree with that. Nothing else said, or nothing needs to be said more than what Sam's going to say.
Yeah, I will say if this award looks most like a member of Pearl Jam in 1991, I think I would go with Brandon Van Dusen. But Nethercutt, the accumulation, like when you combine both stats, very impressive. But yeah, I give the nod to Cubit. I agree with y'all.
Yeah, what makes it even more impressive, I think, is that Cubit does not even lead the league in throwaways. He's second, only behind his teammate, Brian Walsh. And that's a lot of throwaways, that you're sharing on the field. So to be able to still get 40 throwaways with your teammate coming in at 42, that's really impressive. Joe takes it in a runaway. There's not a lot more opportunities for throwaways, and he still got 40 of them. So
yeah,
impressive.
It's like Andrew was saying about Feiner standing out on a team of handsome men. As a handsome man, you've got Cubit standing out at throwing the disc away on a team of players who love to do that. So this one was definitely predetermined. We knew who was going to win this. We've got Cubit taking home the Jameis Winston Award. Congrats to Cubit.
Congratulations.
The entire Detroit franchise on this historic win.
Hold on.
All right. We're through with the fun piece.
No more fun.
No more fun.
We're at the serious awards, and I've got another quote to kick us off from, again, Michael Jordan, and I think this one is actually the basketball player from the 90s, but it could be the Winchell player. He said, "Success doesn't stop when you get there." So I don't really know what that means, but
that's so deep.
Wow.
He said it.
Sorry, guys. I got to go start dribbling right now. Got to just turn off the pod. So motivated.
All right. This is a quick one. I just wanted to shout out our game of the year. And this was a game that we were all glued to our group chat during because it was just like unbelievably entertaining. I'll just go ahead and announce that the Shred at Summit Week 4 matchup of undefeated teams was our game of the year. It was just such an exciting game, and we saw the Summit play that almost blew it earlier in the show, but just a great game.
Yeah. This game was crazy. You had it tied at halftime, and then a third quarter where the Shred just took a 3-goal lead, and then you had a fourth quarter where the Summit just came back, huge fourth quarter to take a 4-goal lead in the fourth quarter, which ended up winning by just 1 goal, and then that finish with Nethercutt stepping out of bounds. Like, I don't know, you could just tell after that game that these two teams, specifically like brand new teams, like there's this kind of weird rivalry, and like these are both like elite teams, and they're gonna stay. Definitely.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm surprised you remember that many details about the game, given what your bar tab must have been. But yeah, that game was crazy. I said that was our game of the week, I think, leading into the weekend, and I said, I think that this is going to be kind of like that Monday Night Football game between the Chiefs and the Rams when the total scoring was like crazy. It really lived up to that, honestly. It was the Frisbee version of that game. It was just fireworks on both sides offensively, some really great hucks and awesome plays. So yeah, that game is awesome.
Yeah, 2 undefeated teams coming in. I remember I picked the Shred to win this game, and I was wrong. This game really showcased, at least to me, that the Summit were not messing around. They could beat these bad teams on a night-to-night basis, and then a good team can come in and the Summit can get it done. What an amazing game! A fantastic game to watch.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. We're going to get a little more specific and pick our play of the year.
Oh, boy.
And this one I also predetermined because in the very last week of the season, there was a play unlike any that we've ever seen. So this award goes to that fucking Minnesota play against the Mechanics. And I have the video for our viewers.
If they can find him.
Why don't we take a look?
He'll send it deep downfield, and it is not caught.
flipped into the end zone, touched, and caught by DeClerc. What in the wide world was that?
So yeah, what in the wide world was that? Pretty much sums it up. It was a flick hook through a double team, to a block, to a greatest inbounds, to just a mac into the end zone, to a layout goal.
Bizarre, truly bizarre. So is the idea
kid
here
falling down at the end?
is the idea here that if they touched on the ground, then like the clock, since the clock was at 0, it would have like ended the play.
Yeah.
So in jumping and like
Yeah.
playing tips kind of. Wow. I mean, I think this is it's obvious. This is the play of the year. Further evidence that Frisbee isn't a sport as well, which is kind of the give and take of it. But yeah, amazing play, well deserved.
There's so many great aspects of this play. I think the infield greatest is the craziest aspect.
Yeah.
Who got the assist for it?
That's a great question.
The original thrower.
Wow. Okay.
That was the whack. That's the most whack assist.
Because he's the last one with like possession, quote unquote. Because if you're in the air, that's not possession.
So any greatest doesn't give you an assist.
Yeah,
you get nothing.
You get absolutely
nothing.
nothing.
I think the craziest part is that he turned his back on the disc after it got tipped and then laid out. Like, look how he turns.
Yeah, that's tough to do.
He's going that way and then he turns, but he kind of keeps his eyes on it the whole time. That's crazy.
That's impressive.
That kid falling down is just all of us watching this.
Yeah.
Shout out to that kid.
Oh, here's another angle.
Oh.
What in God's name?
Oh my God.
I think that angle really did justice. That like the block, he hit it. Like they say, catch your D's, but like if you can't catch your D, like hit it down. And he did that, and he hit it hard. And the guy who did the greatest, like that might. I'm having trouble deciding what the most impressive part of that is, and it might be the dude who had that greatest to keep it alive after the block, because that that's
also,
disc like zips down.
Also, nobody talks about it, but the original throw was pretty nice too through the double team.
Yeah.
The fact that it got through the double team was impressive, but then it got blocked. That's
true.
And he still got an assist.
It's a
that
crazy
fucking
play.
Minnesota play. That just describes it. Yeah.
The last thing I will say about this is I was watching that game and I was like, I don't know, should I keep watching this game? Like, what's the point? And then that happened. So like, I will always see out a game from here on out. If I've definitely learned my lesson after seeing that play live.
Something magical is always around the corner if you're playing Detroit.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
All right. Now we're getting into some real stuff here. We've got most improved player of the year. So we might get into some more significant debate here, but we've got some great nominees. We have Alex Davis of Carolina, who I don't have stats in front of me, but I believe went from scoring 11 goals last year to 53 or so.
Holy shit.
Then we've got James Pollard, who went from D-line on a bad Philadelphia team to now kind of the focal point on offense of a playoff bound Philly team. And then lastly, we have James Lewis, who played, I want to say 3 or 4 games last year.
He played 4 games last year with no assists and 2 goals.
Yeah, and this year he was, if not in the top 10, knocking on the door of the top 10 in overall plus minus. So
yeah,
just
he increased
insane
his
growth.
plus minus from 4 to 64.
There you go. So yeah, I would say Lewis and Davis, I believe, are both second-year players, and then Pollard he's maybe in his 5th year or something. So it's been a bit of a gradual improvement until this jump this year, whereas Davis and Lewis both just kind of exploded this year.
Yeah, this is tough. I will say I looked up Alex Davis, and there was a player on the Vancouver Riptide named Alex Davis, and they had this Alex Davis's photo.
Yeah, that's where I got it actually.
So I was quite confused. But yeah, so I've got Alex Davis here, 2021. He had 11 goals, 11 blocks, plus minus a 23 this year, 53 goals, in plus minus of 60. So he went off this year. Completely different player, blew up. That's really cool to see. James Pollard, it's very similar. Last season, his, let me just go. I'll go his plus minus from 2018. It was 10. 2019 went down to 5 in only 3 games. And in 2021, it was 22. And then this season, it was 64. So also super impressive. Huge season from James Pollard. And then let me pull up James Lewis. Someone else can talk while I pull up James Lewis.
I think it's worth noting that something that Reese Bowman talked about on the pod was a lot of incoming rookies will play a ton of D-line because you've got a pretty set O-line from the year before. And so I think Alex Davis went from D-line to O-line, but I don't even think that's like an excuse to not talk about how amazing his jump was, because he did have an amazing jump. And it's not like he didn't play. He was a very solid D-line player who played I think almost 200 possessions, and to go from that to this year to just increase his scoring and his efficiency so much, I think that's really impressive.
Yeah, definitely. And now that I've got James Lewis pulled up, I will say, last year, 2 goals in 4 games. This year, 50 goals in 12 games. And I think the games played has a lot to do with that. But yeah, huge coming out party this year for James Lewis as well.
For a team that struggled to score sometimes during this season too.
Yeah, definitely. Plus minus of 64 is up there with the league leaders. So that's super impressive. So great season, James Lewis. This is tough. I don't know. I kind of want to let you guys talk before I kind of make my decision. Ryan, do you have any thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
I think all 3, exploded for different reasons. I think James Lewis specifically for, points played. And there's arguments to be made on all 3 of them, but I'm going to go with James Lewis, and specifically because he was born one day after me, and because I can't decide between the 3 and that connects to me, I'm going to pick that. So James Lewis has my vote.
Okay. I think, so was James Pollard playing on the D-line last year? That's kind of what I want to know.
Yeah, he was. I think he played a fair amount of O, but majority D, kind of like Ben Yot did this year. Okay.
What I'll say is, oh man, so who do we go? Who's voted for who so far? So Ryan was James Lewis. Sam, you're who?
I think I have to vote for James Pollard just because I like him a lot. I think that Pollard and Davis got the bump from the D to O switch, and then Lewis got the bump from getting playing time, which obviously is a sign of improvement. But I think pairing, just because this isn't really what the award is maybe by letter supposed to mean, but I think the way that the Philly Phoenix have gone with James Pollard from a bad team to like a good team, as he has gone from a bad player to a good player, I think that's kind of it kind of reflects his role in that. So I see his improvement as leading to winning for them, which I value a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Alex Davis has definitely exploded this year, and that's not just off of hotel balconies, but I think
I gotta find that tweet.
I think I agree with Sam, your argument with James Pollard. That's really convincing to me. Is like his success has kind of gone in line with the success of his team, and yeah, just kind of growing to that role in the O-line. I think he's done an awesome job. And yeah, just the eye test too, of just kind of seeing him dominate his matchups this year. And a very similar improvement to Alex Davis. And I mean, they're all here for a reason, obviously, but yeah, I like James Pollard for this award for sure.
I think I lean Alex Davis. I'm not. This is tough because honestly, all of them are really good. But I don't know. I feel like maybe Alex was a better player, quote unquote, last year than Pollard was. But I also think that Alex jumped to a level higher than James Pollard currently. And so I think that's the reason that I'm leaning Alex. I think because the jump led to such an amazing season, I think that's why I lean Alex.
Okay. Well, our votes are cast. We have a winner.
Votes are cast, and yes, we do have a winner. Congratulations to James Pollard.
Ooh, congrats.
The I'm Open
Congratulations,
Most
James.
Improved Player of the Year. Outstanding season.
These were good nominees. I mean, they were all. This was probably the toughest discussion we've had so far, outside of
Definitely
maybe Celebration or
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was tough. First one I had to pull up the stats and like really look at it.
quick side note on Alex Davis's Twitter. I don't think I'll be able to find this because he likes about 100 tweets a day, so it's pretty hard to find. But if you are interested, his likes are on point. There is some really good content in his like section. So highly recommend go to Alex Davis Twitter and check out what he's been liking.
Will do. All right, now we can get into the All-AUDL teams. And so for this, we just went with a straight up first team and second team. We didn't bother with a rookie team or a defense team. But I will say there were probably more than 10 players that we wanted to put on the first team. And like, there's so many good players. So let's just get into it.
all right. Wait, I haven't read anything yet. Let me read this one.
Yeah, I know you wanted Marks over Yacht, but this is where things stand. We have Quinn Finer, Cameron Brock, Ben Yacht, James Pollard, Jordan Kerr, Pavel Giannis, and Ryan Oscar on our first team. And Joe's mad about it.
No, I'm not. I just said, let me read this one because I haven't read one yet.
Sam
and then you said, I know you wanted Marks over Yacht. Here's our first team. Then you read it.
All right. I thought you meant like, let me read it so I know who's on it. Not like let me announce it.
Joe, you can read it and then we won't cut it. And
I misunderstood you.
I'm with Sam here, Joe. You can suck it.
No. Go ahead and announce it.
Take a back seat and let Sam talk.
All right. Well, All-AUDL first team. After our votes were cast, we decided that our top 7, we're going to start with Quinn Finer of the Colorado Summit, Cameron Brock of our lovely Indianapolis Alley Cats. We've got Ben Yacht of the New York Empire. We've got James Pollard of the Philadelphia Phoenix or Hotbirds. We've got Jordan Kerr of the Salt Lake Shred, Pavel Giannis of the Chicago Union, and Ryan Oscar of the New York Empire.
Talk about a snub for Handsome Devil, Ryan Oscar.
Oh man.
I mean, damn. Yeah, is there anything we need to say about this team? I mean, these guys could go out and can sling it. Yeah, we got some studs on this team. I don't know.
These guys all put up pretty big years. Shout out, I want to say Ben Yacht, making ADL all first team. He's former MVP. I really honor the fact that he changed over to D-line this year when he was an all-star. 8 He was an O-line MVP, all-star stud. But that Empire team, they're nasty this year, and putting him on D-line, like that took him to a whole nother level, I think.
That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else? I mean, I think I want to kind of save some of the conversation because I think some of these guys are going to be also for a later award.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, these guys are all insane. Very good players, well deserved.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I think one thing to say is most of these guys are pretty much at the top of the list, plus minus, with the exception of Paul Giannis, PhD. But he made the cut just because we were throwing around his stats, and he's the engine of a Union team that is really good. Like, he has insane yards and completion numbers. Like, his numbers just jump off the page.
Yeah. 48 hockey assists. That's my favorite stat of his for the year. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. All right. And it's insane that Mr. Hockey Assist and Mr. Assist are on the same club team, because that just works perfectly.
It just adds up.
Yeah. All right. Joe, give us the second team.
All right. Second team.
You know what? That's enough from you. All right. So to lead off our second team, we've got Leandro Marks of the Portland Nitro. We've got Alex Davis of the Carolina Flyers. We've got Kyle Henke of the San Diego Growlers.
Austin Soul.
We've got of the Austin Soul. Damn, I was trying to base it off of that jersey and what it said. Sorry, Kyle. And then we've got Travis Dunn of the San Diego Growlers. We've got Ross Barker of the Chicago Union. We've got the handsome Jonathan Nethercutt of the Colorado Summit, and the even more handsome Rowan McDonald of our DC Breeze.
Rowan, damn, they got the fan out for that headshot.
Yeah.
I mean, sheesh.
Best by far.
Yeah. And I just want to say, even this second team, there's a ton of players that we were trying to debate and trying to fill out a roster when it comes to handlers and cutters. It was tough narrowing down to really just 14 players. But I think that just shows the elite talent that the AUDL had this year.
Yeah, it was tough to discuss. We have some obvious snubs. But all of these players, I think, could go toe to toe with any of the snubs. And I will say it looks a little odd seeing Nethercutt on the second team, but that just speaks to those guys on that AUDL first team, I think. And any of these players that were in our discussion in our group chat, could all be on this team. But yeah, I mean, these guys are really great players in their own right, and we're blowing up the stat sheets this year for sure. So congrats.
Yeah. I definitely want to point out that Leandro Marks is certainly the best player in the league without a headshot on the website. That's for certain.
Wow. Do we even know what his face looks like without the glasses? We don't know.
No.
Nobody knows.
We have no idea. Do laser beams come out?
No.
When
I wore these.
glasses
I wore these so I could look just a little bit like him.
Yeah. If there's a friend of the pod, is he the fiend of the pod? Just because he and Everest were going toe to toe for that other award that we might talk about later. But yeah.
Anyway, before we get to that, we've got a big one here. We've got Defensive Player of the Year. So the AUDL is a league where defense can be optional, but not for these guys. Somebody else read them.
No, I just read. I'm out. That's too scary. I got one wrong. I'm not doing it again.
Anyone? I can do it.
Do it, Sam.
Okay. I just didn't want to keep doing all of them. And the nominees are Ben Katz of the Empire, Chad Jorgensen of the Shred, Dylan DeClerc of the Windchill, Cody Spicer of the Colorado Summit, and Nate Goff of Chicago Union. I want to point out for our listeners that we don't have a picture of Cody Spicer, so I put a picture of the REI website after searching up men's rain pants. But yeah, the cases are essentially Ben Katz and Chad Jorgensen are the guys who are and Dylan DeClerc are guys who are converting, getting scoring opportunities and assists and goals when that turn happens. And then DeClerc is up there for most blocks in the league. I think he's got 19. Meanwhile, Nate Goff only played 7 games, but had 16 blocks somehow. And then Cody Spicer, we've watched him all year. Just an incredible defender and a great player off of a turn. So,
and he's friend of Ryan. So,
and friend of Ryan, knows Ryan's name. So,
one thing I will say, I want to give an honorable mention to John Jones of the Chicago Union. He's not on the list because, when I'm looking at the sheet, he's got 6 blocks on the year. But if the AUDL had some kind of like win probability added stat, he might be one of the league leaders because his blocks have come at like such timely moments. Like when the Alley Cats almost beat the Union, he got a layout block in the end zone that switched the tide of the game. And then again against the Windchill and that like most recent matchup. I just wanted to I don't think we could do this awards episode without me bringing up those plays. Shout out to John Jones. But yeah, I think in terms of these guys here, I've been watching this guy all season and he's like a dog on the handler defense. And he's just like, I don't know. I feel like D-line players, sometimes they don't get all the love and they just kind of do the dirty work. And I think Cody Spicer is like the epitome of that. That dude's out there. He'll play really good handler defense. He doesn't care who he's guarding. He'll be a pest. He'll make things hard. And he looks like, one of the best handler defenders in the league. So I get the nod to Cody Spicer, but shout out to all these guys.
I think personally, in most sports leagues, your defensive player of the year is going to be synonymous with like who's the best defender. But for Frisbee, it's like you can be not that good at defense to me and still be the defensive player of the year if you're like that good on converting break opportunities.
Okay.
So, and that's not the only sort of requirement that I have. I just think that it's important to acknowledge that it's a little unconventional for a defense award, since it's not truly a defense award. It's really just like a getting breaks award, and part of that is getting the D and part of that is converting. With all that said, I'm pretty close between all of these guys, and I think just today looking at stats, just Dylan DeClerc's numbers just wowed me. Like he's up there. I think his plus minus is 50, I want to say.
Yeah, it is.
Which is, up there in the entire league, but among D-line players, that's like far and away the best plus minus number. Like having that impact in scoring, and for him getting blocks as well, like that speaks volumes to me. And Minnesota is a good defensive team, so I think that's an important part of this award, is being on a defense that's actually good. So for me, my pick is Dylan DeClerc. Also, he caught that play of the year goal, so that's a bonus.
Just to add on, I want to agree with you, Sam, that DeClerc is also my choice. He had 19 blocks this season, which was second best, and he was something like eighth. I want to say like 8th or 9th in total D points played, and then just to be able to have that many blocks and also the best plus minus, I think it's really impressive. I also want to shout out Chad Jorgensen, because I think he's similar to Cody Spicer in a way that he's just like always out there, always just like being a pest. He's a great defender, and I do think Cody Spicer has kind of the edge in the, like, once you get that turnover, like, are you going to convert? But you know, I want to shout out Jorgensen as well, but de Klerk has my vote.
Yeah. I think this is really close, and I think it really depends on which stats, all 5 of these players like are just unbelievable players. For me, I think Chad Jorgensen, his numbers specifically stood out. Out of these guys, I think he played the most total points, and with that had the highest, or not the highest, the second high. He had a plus minus of 46 while playing 287 D points. And I think one thing about Dylan de Klerk is that they get to play Detroit twice a year. So I'm sure that factors in a couple times to the stats. But you know what? I think it's really close, and I think Chad Jorgensen just nudges it out a little bit for me.
Yeah, I love that. And then we didn't really talk about him, but Ben Katz also a deserving nominee, being a key piece of the best defense in the league. So all of that said, we have our winner, and the winner is Dylan de Klerk, the Minnesota Wind. Congrats on a fantastic season. Now, flip side of the coin.
All right.
Offensive player of the year. This is going to be a tough one.
Got some really good nominees in this category.
Here are our nominees. We've got Cameron Brock. He led the league in goals. We've got Leandro Marks. He led the league by a lot in yards. We've got Ryan Oscar, who had a unbelievably efficient season with the Empire. Jordan Kerr putting up crazy assist numbers, and then Nethercutt quarterbacking for the 11-1 Colorado Summit.
Whew. Yeah, this is tough.
Oh my God.
Wow.
This is tough. And it's a prelude to kind of the next award as well. I will say we kind of touched on this with the Jameis Winston award, but Nethercutt leading the league in hucks. That dude was throwing it. And pretty effectively, given his volume of hucks, the fact that his completion percentage was still like 92%. I mean, that's impressive. The no look backhands and holy smokes. I mean, like what would the Summit's O-line look like? I mean, it's possible that they would be okay without him with the talent they have, but he had a crazy season. Led the league in total yards. No, that was Marks.
No,
okay, no, I'm so wrong. But
he also probably has the longest assist of the season, and he's got a few of those full field assists.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. Oh man, yeah, but I for me it's hard to argue against Cam Brock just leading the league in goals too. I mean, if we're talking offense, I mean, what's the one metric that you want? It's goals. That's what helps your team win. That's what offense is all for. At the end of the day, you're trying to score, and he is the best at that in the league. Not only this season but in his entire career. So that's definitely worth noting. I think I got to go to Oscar for this award just because not only was he like just slinging it Nethercutt-esque, but he was throwing dimes. Like he had, what was it? 8 throwaways on the year. 90 something percent.
95.5% on hucks.
95% on hucks. 97% completion percentage. 97.5. I mean, I go Oscar. Yeah, 98. Let's call it 98. We round up. I mean, I go Ryan Oscar. He had a season unlike any other. So yeah, I give him the nod.
All 5 of these players really just dominated for their team and really showed the amount of total yards that Leandro Marks had, is insane. Like he's at the top of the list with 1,000 more yards than the second place player, which is front of the pod, probably Giannis, who's not even on this.
Who's not even on the list? I know.
when it comes to offensive player, I think for me, I think Ryan and Leandro really stand out. I'm going to give the nod to Leandro specifically for just total yards because he was doing it on both ends. He was throwing it and he was receiving it. His team wasn't doing great all year round, but just 7,700 yards. That's ridiculous. And then I got to see him live and I got to see like, okay, how good is this guy actually? And he was taking Cody Spicer, one of our defensive player of the year nominees, like deep all the time. And Cody was just like, nothing I can do. This guy's fucking ridiculously fast. Like, so yeah, my vote goes to Leandro.
All right. I'll go next because I've got a different choice. So I'll let Sam be the tie break.
Oof.
But
Love that.
I'm gonna go a little different. Personally, for offensive player of the year, like I think Oscar's percentages are ridiculous and should not be overlooked. But when it comes to offensive player of the year, I think they maybe can be a little bit if we're just talking about who was the best output of scoring, of being there and being a part of the offense. I think what Marks and Kerr did is really, really impressive. They both came out with over 100 scores and they're the only two to do it. And I don't know, I guess I was going to go with Kerr, but now everything I just said makes me feel like I should go with Marks. Because Marks just put up a fucking ridiculous season. But I kind of want Sam to be the tiebreak. And I think what Kerr just did was he had an unbelievable season. And he's just such a crucial part of a much, much better team than Portland. So I'll go with what I was originally thinking, and I'll go with Kerr.
Oh, all right, set this up for you, Sam. We've got one vote for Marks, one vote for Oscar, and one vote for Jordan Kerr. That gives you the deciding vote for this year's offensive player of the year. Or you could just split it up, and we just don't have a winner.
So I've thought a lot about this, obviously. To me, a key part of being the offensive player of the year, as impressed as I was by Marks's overall numbers, I think just being on such a bad team is a little bit of a disqualifier for me. I think, and the reason for that is because of like how bad the Nitro are, not just like a team that's a little bad, but like if you're on an O-line and you're the offensive player of the year, you get holds. In the Nitro, like it's obviously not Marks's fault, but the Nitro do not get holds. Then shifting over to Brock, obviously super impressive that he led the league in goals. But again, I think when I'm picking an offensive player of the year, I want sort of a diversity of the way they attack. Obviously, Brock is working on his throws as he has for many off seasons, but
always.
I want someone who's dangerous in a lot of different ways. So going off of that, Nethercutt is sort of the opposite, dangerous as a thrower, not so much as a downfield threat. I'm actually going to pick Jordan Kerr for my offensive player of the year. Just being so good at getting assists while being a cutter is just crazy. Like he gets open as a cutter and then he finds someone as a thrower. Like he really shows it all. And if I'm sort of like picking my team or drafting my O-line from this group, I would probably pick Kerr first, just because of like how many different types of players you could plug around him. Like he's just such a dangerous offensive weapon. And then finally, my last reason for picking Kerr is that sort of not to spoil anything, but like the NFL, I kind of view the offensive player of the year as like a MVP runner-up award. So I give it to Kerr. But yeah, with that said, congrats, Jordan Kerr, our offensive player of the year, friend of the pod. T-shirt is on its way.
Congrats,
to
Jordan.
Just an insane season from him.
Yeah.
Now, what everyone's been waiting for.
Oh my God, there's so much tension built up on this award.
Rookie of the
baby.
year.
Oh.
And the nominees are,
Oh man.
we've got Jake Radek of the Soul. We've got Chad Jorgensen, who is also a nominee for defensive player. He's of the Shred, of course. We've got Quinn Finer. Probably should have been an offensive player of the year nominee.
Handsome Devil.
Winner.
Yeah.
No, that was
Alex
Iggy.
Davis.
Oh, that was Alex Davis.
Oh, was it really? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Runner up, handsome
Runner up.
devil.
Runner up.
Leandro Marks, and of course,
Oh my God, look at that guy.
rookie of the year favorite from the very start of the year, Everest Shapiro of the Los Angeles Aviators.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. From the start of the year, I didn't see anybody else winning this award besides the one and only Everest Shapiro. And I would say I was steadfast in Everest winning until one specific incident, and that was the Aviators game versus the Colorado Summit in Colorado. And honestly, this kind of shows why he should have won the award, because the game was really close, and this is a Summit team that has only had one loss. And then Everest gets an ankle injury, and the Summit kind of ride off to the sunset in the second half, and the Aviators fall behind. And I think that shows the dominance and the value that Everest brings to that Aviator team. But just not having a complete season, and just kind of the rest of the numbers that this other cast and this other group put up, I don't have Everest winning this award. I have Colorado Summit player and just stand out from game one to this past weekend or 2 weekends ago, Quinn Finer. He's been a rock for this Summit team. Honestly, I think it's been underrated just because nobody's really talking about the kind of the plus minus he's been putting up and the stats he's been putting up, but he's almost been unguardable. Like their first play of every game is just have him run deep and another cut just kind of throws it to him, and it works a lot. Quinn Finer has just been killing it, so he's got my vote for rookie of the year, Quinn Finer.
Yeah, I think Quinn Finer is fantastic, and I've already voted for him for a previous award as I wrongfully attributed to him a couple minutes ago. But he's great. Jake is also fantastic. Leandro Marks led the league in yards, and I don't know. I mean, should we really hold the injury against Everest Shapiro? I mean, this isn't most valuable player. This isn't who played the best for this season that led to your team being led to your team being so fantastic. This is who was the greatest rookie, and for me, that might be Everest Shapiro. He showed his worth to an Aviators team that looked kind of mediocre without him. He put up a pretty impressive, I think, 27 goals in 7 games, especially with those first few games. He wasn't a huge part of the offense, and then he really came out in his last few games, leading the team in scores and plus minus, and he, I think, finished the season leading the team in scores, but I don't know that for sure. And he was leading the team in plus minus before his injury. I don't think he finished up there. And I think I don't know if I'm looking at this award as who had the best rookie season and like who am I most excited to look for next season. That's going to be Mr. Shapiro himself.
So we have
Great points.
Do we have 2 for Shapiro right now?
We have one. For
No, Ryan went
one for Finer.
Finer.
One Finer. Sam, do you want to go last or do you want to take this one?
I'm cool with either.
Oh man.
Whatever you
Okay.
want.
I got some stat pages pulled up. So Everest wound up playing 7 games. So he missed out on math amount of games. 5 games. And he had a plus minus of 32. And
Did he really?
Yeah. That's really good.
That is really good. It's
We're
way
so-
better than I thought it would be.
Yeah. And with a full season, Quinn Finer, 12 games, had 47, which is like, or no, sorry. Okay. 74. That's a lot. That's a lot. I was looking at Quinn Finer's goals. He had 47 goals. That is what, but I think Everest was on pace for something like that, honestly. Like he really was. Close to that. I think he would have been in a really good spot. And I think if Everest had 5 more games to work with, man, I would have.
He was on pace for 46.3 about goals.
What about his plus minus?
Yeah, what about plus minus?
Plus minus? Yeah, I got you. Hold on.
Because Quinn had a plus minus of 74. Which is pretty good.
That's crazy.
Fourth in the league.
54.86.
That
Pretty
is
high.
That's really high. That's really
pretty
respectable.
And his first few games were kind of ass.
Yeah, and he had some
and
booty. He had some
he
booty
only had
games in there.
He had 5 blocks and 4 turns. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I love the season that Everest had, but just missing 5 games, it's tough. I think that's part of why Jake Radak also he missed a lot of games. Was he out for the rest of the season? Pretty much. I can't remember how many games he played. He was still up in the leaderboard.
I think he's back.
Radak
I think he
played
just
10
missed a couple.
He's played 10 games.
Yeah.
He's had a great season too. I mean, he's like
with a plus minus of 25, but 42
Yeah.
assists. He just had 31 throwaways.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
why
his
plus minus is so low.
his throwing yards are up there. I mean, and we got to. Is Leandro Marks really going to get through this whole thing and not get a single nod? You know, but his team is Cheeks, and I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, okay. I mean, I think to me it comes down. It comes down to Finer and Marks, and Marks had a plus minus of 85. Finer had a plus minus of 74, so that's lower. But let's see. Finer had a 97 completion percentage, 97.24. I mean, that's like Oscarian levels of.
Yeah, I think he
efficiency.
had one fewer throwaway than Oscar. I think it was only 7 for Finer.
80% huck completion percentage on 16 hucks.
That's not nothing.
That's disgusting.
Can I say one more stat that kind of separates Finer and Marks? Marks played 100 more points than Finer, and he played 70 more offensive points than Finer. Yet Finer is only 11 plus minus below. So out of those 70 more points, all Leandro Marks had to do was score 10 goals or get a plus minus of 10 out of, you know what I mean? Like when you're playing that many 70 more O points, you have so many more opportunities to get an assist or get a goal. And I think the plus minus per point, specifically offensive points, kind of, I mean, I'm biased. I'm a Summit fan. I've already had my vote for Viner. So, I'm speaking, I'm very biased, but I think that those stats on just like opportunities to get that plus minus up, it's kind of
and also like a fourth of the turnovers as well.
Yeah,
Finer had 7 throwaways to Marks's 27.
Yeah, to 27.
Yeah, I think the efficiency kind of does it for me. And Ryan, your point there about just like the points played and what do you do in the points that you played, and he played. It's not like. And I think that's kind of where your team is asked kind of comes into the equation, and like why Marks had such more high of a volume. So I go Finer as well. I give Finer the rookie of the year too. I think his stat page could be an MVP season, any other year as well. So I go with Finer.
Yeah. I obviously want to shout out Everest. He had a way better plus minus than I would have thought he had. Shame it was a short season because I was ready to campaign all the way for him.
Oh
Um,
my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this pod has spiraled out of control from a propaganda page for Everest into actually covering this league. And so in that vein, I have to give my vote using my brain and not my heart. So I'm also going to go with Finer. Going off of what Ryan said about the points played, like Marx's yard number, as huge as it is and as much higher as it is than the second best player, Finer has more yards per point played than him. So
That's ridiculous.
Not to take away from Marx, like having the energy to play that much for a team that's not winning and to play at such a high level, that's very impressive. And I admire that. But I got to give it to Finer. Which means that our rookie of the year is Quinn Finer of the Colorado Summit.
All of our
Runner-up,
Twitter
Everest
followers
Shapiro.
out there runner up Everest Shapiro. Honestly, we called that from the beginning. You know, we thought it might have been Marks, and we are just saying, runner up. But shout out Quinn Finer beating the clout of Everest Shapiro. That's hard to do.
That says a lot.
It really does.
Can we shout out my Everest Shapiro pick so that he could be runner up instead of a 4-way tie for runner up? I think that was pretty impressive.
Great pick, Joe.
Thank you.
Great choice.
Thank
Great
you.
choice. All right. Here we are, the big one. Most valuable player. Let's get into it. We have 4 nominees. Yes, 4 nominees. And those nominees are Jordan Kerr, Ryan Osgar, Paul Giannis, and Jonathan Nethercutt. So we've sort of down here, we've got the 2 quarterbacks of our West and Central divisions top teams. And then up here, we've got basically our 2 best offensive players, if you want to just go by our voting. Osgar with that insane, like unprecedented levels of efficiency with the umpire, and then Jordan Kerr with volume-wise just ridiculous numbers all around. Yeah. So who wants to kick us off here?
Can I just read out just like go through some of their stats first comparatively?
Please.
Yeah, please do.
They all had just amazing seasons, and I just think all of their accomplishments at least should be brought out so we have a good discussion of it. But so assists wise, we have Kerr at 78, Oscar at 67, Pavel at 63, and Nethercutt at 58. Goals, we have Kerr at 29, Oscar at 26, Pavel at 21, and Nethercutt at 7. Hockey assists, a favorite stat of mine. We've got Pavel at 48, Nethercutt at 40, Oscar at 38, Kerr at 24. And then in terms of throwaways, we have Nethercutt with the most at 35, Pavel with 24, Kerr with 20, Oscar with 8. Completion percentage, we have Oscar with 97.5, Pavel 94.12, Nethercutt 92.76, and Kerr, I read that out of order, 92.86. Nethercutt just below, actually. And huck percentage, we have Oscar 95.45 on 21 of them, Kerr 84.62 on 11 of them, Nethercutt at 60.31 on 34 of them, and then Pavel at 54.17 on 13 of them. Actually, you know what? Wait, one more stat that I want to read out, because like Pavel had 600 completions. That's absolutely insane. And the Nethercutt had 538, which is also just fucking ridiculous. But 600, like breaking 600 completions in the season is like unbelievable. That's 50 completions a game. Oscar had 390 and Kerr had 299 for the season. So That's ridiculous. All these players are so good. I wanted to read those out, but God.
Yeah.
This
I
is
think
tough.
it really comes down to what your interpretation of what the award means to you. Because I think there's an argument for each of these players, depending on what that is. I guess I'll kick off some of the discussion. I'm not going to go ahead and launch into everything, but Joe pointed out Pavel's 600 completions, which is third in the league, I believe. But I mean, Pavel's on the best team out of those three players. Cubit's first, Paul Lawley's second. So shout out you guys, good job. But yeah, Pavel. Just watching them play too. I talk about the eye test a lot, but Pavel runs that offense, and we talked about like Gucho Hannes, like being a disc distributor, and he like somehow has like negative receiving yards. Pavel is like so in the positive on his receiving yards because he's just like, I don't know. He's just like busting through. He's like, you like try to guard me on this up line, like he's just moving the disc so relentlessly for his team. And just with the volume of completions, he's just a part of like every offensive possession. He's just so central to that team. So he has to be in the conversation. We have to put Pavel Giannis in this conversation for MVP. Just the value that he brings, completely running that Union offense. I think that just can't be understated. So we have to throw Pavel into this conversation for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, agreed. And the 94% completions with 600 of them is like ridiculous. That's he's second on this list in number of turnovers with 600 of them. That's just ridiculous.
That's crazy. Anyone got anything else I want to throw out?
We kind of glossed over it, but the fact that Oscar has 21 hucks on 95.5%, like that's ridiculous. Like to be that precise and that good on hucks at that high volume is crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's why I gave Oscar the nod to Offensive Player of the Year, because I think that is so impressive that he was throwing dimes all season. Like, and I think that ties into value to a team is like, this guy will not turn it over for you. I mean, the throwaways, the huck numbers, the completion numbers. I mean, this guy, I probably trust him to make a throw above anyone in the league, like this guy is just skill wise, is possibly the best thrower in the league. I don't know. He really made a statement this year. Yeah, go ahead.
Also, just to put that 95% in a little more clarity, that's 21 out of 22. There was only one time this entire season he attempted a huck that was not completed.
That's crazy.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. He attempted it 22 times and was successful 21 of them. Like, that's just crazy. And then his actual completion percentage was even better because he completed 390 and only had 7 turnovers in non-huck throws.
Yeah. And yeah, and the other end of that, so we have accuracy and we have these like great percentage numbers that I see Oscar having. And then look at Nethercutt's like total yards, 6,697. He's second to Pavel, who has 6,739. Oscar is up there with 6,000. Jordan has 5,500. I mean, they're all up there, but like, man, like Nethercutt with those throwing yards, he just like kind of outpaces those guys by so much on the throwing yards. Like these are all, I guess Jordan Kerr is kind of more of a cutter, so maybe he kind of does everything, but like Nethercutt's throwing yards, 5,145 to Oscar's like 2,996. Those are like some crooked numbers right there, looking at them next to each other for a handler. I don't know. I'm not necessarily making my case for Nethercutt right now, but he's got some crazy throwing yard numbers, and that needs to be said at least.
It also probably should be talked about that Kerr leads all of these players in assists and in goals. He beat all of them when it comes down to,
And plus,
if you're cutting. Yeah, and plus minus. He led the league in plus minus, led the league in assists. He leads all 4 of these players in goals scored at 29.
And it should be noted that
impressive.
Oscar is right behind him in plus minus. Jordan Kerr has 87 and Oscar has 86, which is virtually the same thing. But Kerr does edge him out in assists as well. So
yeah, I want to go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead. Go.
No, I was gonna say a couple things and give my vote, but I'll let Sam discuss a couple things first.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Sam.
Actually, I'll give my vote if that's all right, since I already kind of spoiled it in the offensive player category. But I want to say that obviously all super impressive seasons, and sort of different archetypes of players here. And I just, my vote goes to Ryan Osgar as MVP, and the accuracy is the main reason, but it's being that accurate while being the guy on the team that shoots is like, it's not something I've seen before, like Giannis and Nethercutt are putting up these crazy volume numbers and sort of running offenses, like willing them by themselves. And obviously that's incredible and super impressive, and they're extremely talented, but that's a little bit just kind of a facet of their role. And again, they're super talented so that they can take on a role like that. But I just think the season from Ryan Osgar is just something special. It brings what we've seen from Kerr in the volume of his stats and adds in this insane accuracy that kind of separates what the Empire are from what a really good team is. I don't know. I don't think that I don't know how it's possible that he put up those kind of completion numbers while being like aggressive on offense and being part of a really good efficient offense. And then lastly, as I referenced before when Alu said that Finer was the handsome guy on the handsome team, Osgar is like stands out on a team of incredible players with former MVPs. Like he looks like clearly the best of them somehow. So I was wowed by his season, and he has my MVP vote.
Yeah, Sam kind of took everything I was going to say. The one stat that I'm just going to reiterate because it needs to be reiterated. He has 8 throwaways. Like Jordan Kerr has 100 less completions and 20 throwaways. Just the precision, the accuracy at the volume he's doing at, let alone his team is undefeated and they're just beating teams handedly. Like the Empire are on a tier alone. Like Osgar's season this year, I don't know if we're going to see another season like it again. So he's got my vote for MVP.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and give my vote. I've almost talked myself into Nethercutt. I've almost talked myself into Pavel, PhD. But to me, it really comes down to Kerr and Oscar. And I think part of why Oscar got my offensive player is because I think just when you look at the offensive stats, I think he had possibly the better season. But to me, when it comes to MVP, I mean, the word that I'm like stuck on is value. And I think for the Empire, I think a player like Oscar brings them from like just an S tier team, like A tier or S tier. I think he puts them in a tier of their own for sure. But this like new shred team, expansion team, this is their first year. I think the value that Jordan Kerr brings to them is just, I don't know if it can be quantified. And all the while he's leading the league in assists and like, these offensive categories that are just so impressive. But I think it's also that just kind of my interpretation of the award and what he brings to the team. I give the nod to Kerr for the MVP. I mean, I feel like they'd be kind of lost without him, honestly. I mean, maybe that's not true. And I don't think Jordan would say that, but like, I think he's just so important to that team, probably more so than Oscar is to the Empire. So I just got to give it to Kerr. He's my MVP.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. I think Kerr probably is a more important part of the Shreds team than Oscar is to the Empire. And I mean, this was really close. I kind of was going back and forth between Kerr and Oscar in my mind. And also just to show how close it is, if we're adding up assists, goals, and hockey assists together, Pavel's at 132, Kerr is at 131, and Oscar is at 128. I mean, Nethercutt's at 105, but between the other three, only 4 points between them. And so, I mean, Kerr had a fantastic season, leading all of them in scoring, but Oscar's efficiency that he could do it at, for me, having someone like that on the field who is not afraid to throw it far, and every time he does it, except for once, it's completed, and not that far behind in any of the scoring categories either. I mean, I think Oscar is the person I would say had the most valuable presence on the field. I don't know, 97%, 97.5, we round up to 98% completion with 95.5 with the huck percentage is just like, honestly, like unfathomable to me. Like, that's just too impressive. I don't think it should be real. I'm really impressed by what he's done. He is a part of a fantastic team, but with that said, like, Yacht didn't have that good of a season. Like, he didn't have the stats that Oscar had, or even the efficiency that Oscar had. And that's, a 2-time MVP. So my vote is going to go to Oscar, but that's not to say that Kerr didn't have an amazing season, that Pavel didn't have a fantastic season, that Nethercutt didn't have a fantastic season. But in the end, I'm going to go with the team, the player who I think is the best on just an amazing team. I'm going to go with Oscar.
All right. Well, there it
Yeah.
is.
There it is. It's a tough word to give out because it can mean so many different things. But at the end of the day, our ringer, the open most valuable player of the 2022 season is Ryan Osgar.
Woo! Ryan Oscar, MVP.
Yeah, and I just want to say again
I also love
that's so
offensive.
tough to give out.
I also love offensive player of the year as the second MVP backup.
Yeah, I kind of knew that's where this was going when Sam voted for Kerr and I voted for Oscar for that award. But I'm happy with that. I mean, I think you could swing the argument either way. And then if we post a graphic or something, having Kerr there as the offensive and then Oscar as the MVP, I mean, I can accept that. They both had incredible seasons. It's like you're kind of splitting hairs on like what matters to you with these players. But yeah, I'll be the what's the word? The dissenting opinion on the MVP. But I'm happy with the results.
With the Rookie of the Year vote, I'm really happy you voted for Kerr because I think it was clear that Kerr was the runner-up. It wasn't really like a 4-man race. I think it really was a 2-person race when it came to this award. So I'm really happy that it wasn't just unanimous and that Kerr really got a nod there.
Yeah, no, he deserved it. Cool.
Definitely. Yeah.
Is that it?
I think we have one more award.
We have one more.
Most important
baby.
The
Friend
69th
of the
award.
pod. Oh.
Friend of the pod of the
Wow.
year.
Wow.
Now this is an extremely tough one, and I actually
this is
let's
pretty.
see, we have the most nominees. We've got Cameron Brock, Mr. Brock. We've got Era Shapiro, who lives at home.
Boo.
We've got Pavel Giannis, PhD. We've got Sasha Bogle, defensive legend. Although now he's down to 1 block per 3 games, but hockey assist legend, no less.
Oh, legend.
Jordan Kerr, regular assist legend and MVP runner-up and offensive player of the year. We got Seth Ferris, our celebration of the year.
Ooh.
And then Reese Bowman, our
runner-up in celebration
nominee. Yeah, technically runner-up. Yeah. So there you go. These are also just the guests that we had on our podcast. And I want to say that except for Everest, they were all incredible. And I'm very grateful that they gave us their time.
Yeah.
I want to say a huge thank you to really all of you. I don't understand the reasoning for coming on this really dumb pod. If I were in your position, I'd probably have way better things to do. But so grateful because every episode you guys came on was a blast. And not only have you all become friends of the pod, I'd like to say you've all become friends in real life, which is really cool. So, and with that being said, I don't know if I've said this out loud yet, but I will be at championship weekend coming up in a few weeks. And I think Jordan will be there. I know Cam's going to be there. Hopefully Seth will be there with the Summit playing. Anyone else listening, I'm going to be there with some t-shirts to sell. Come say hi, because if you buy a shirt or just say hi to me, you're officially a friend of the pod. So can't wait to see you guys all out there in Madison.
Yeah.
Sam, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I think it's definitely worth shouting out each of these guys. I think Reese, the beer chug, was definitely one of the highlights of the pod this season. And the information that Michael Mathis on the Dallas Legion had a speaking role in the film Band Slam that just, really opened my eyes. So Reese was an awesome guest. Seth, we bonded over Memphis barbecue. He's a total stud on the Summit. I had so much fun with him on. Cam Brock, what an interview. I mean, my goodness, if you're listening and you haven't listened to the Cam Brock interview, stop what you're doing. Pause this one, go listen to that, come back. The dude is just like a walking, I don't know, very sneaky, underrated personality in Ultimate. I don't know. That was awesome. Am I going to go over all these guys? Everest, I don't need to talk about him, but Pavel, the fact that he just came on a whim, someone just tweeted, I don't even think we tweeted at him, but someone else, maybe it was Ish or somebody was like, yo, come on the pod. And he was just like, okay. And then he just did. That was so sick. And he talked with us for 2 hours about AUDL and stuff.
Yeah.
Sasha was awesome.
Really in depth.
Yeah. No, he gave us all his thoughts on the future of the game. And he was really fun to chat with. Jordan
That's
Kerr.
the Pavel one is the one that people most mention to us, or when I've had the chance to interact with someone about the pod or talk to someone, they'll mention that episode specifically. And I do think it's our most viewed one. I was looking today.
Yeah. And then Sasha was so fun to talk with. I think we need to bring him on again sometime soon. And we could just shoot the shit about Star Wars or something. I think we need to do that. He was super fun to talk to. Jordan, I know, listens to most of our episodes. I think every episode. I think he listens to every episode. He's probably listening now. I think Cam Brock lurks and listens to most of it, but mostly for the Alley Cat stuff. But Jordan genuinely listens to all of our episodes, which blows my freaking mind. And he's the nicest guy in the world.
Seriously, yeah.
I think it's worth kind of going over all these guys and when they came on and kind of the highlights. I think truly coming on this podcast, it's been probably the best thing I've done in recent memory is bringing you guys on and talking and have you guys share your time with us. So super awesome. Yeah, can't thank you guys enough. So I don't know. Anyone, Sam, you had something to say. Go ahead.
Well, Joe, I was just going to wrap up the category unless you have something to say about our lovely guests.
I mean, I don't know. When we started this pod, I didn't really expect anyone to listen to it, let alone people to come on to the podcast to get interviewed. So it means like so much that just every single one of you would be on here and being a part of all these interviews, except for Seth Ferris, because I had a backup Joe for that interview. It was just like, it was amazing talking to Cam and Reese and my backup talking to Seth and Jordan and Sasha and Pavel and of course Everest. It was fun. It was like interesting. It made the podcast feel, you know, a little bit more real. And like above all else, it was just like interesting to hear what everyone had to say. And I don't know, I appreciate it a lot. Everybody was fantastic in their own way, and I'll send it up to Sam with that.
All right. Yeah, I want to echo all of that. I want to thank all our guests. Can't wait to have more new players and to bring these guys back on again. I want to thank Jordan, especially for being our very first guest. That was really exciting for us.
Yeah.
But as Ryan mentioned, this award is predetermined. So
do we have to pick one? Oh,
and the friend of the pod is you, the fans. Truly, the best friend of the pod is anyone who listens to even a minute of one of these episodes.
Yeah. I thought we were going to pick somebody.
No, too many people would get mad.
Yeah.
And I included this impressive statistic here.
Ooh.
That's how many total YouTube views we have. So not bad.
Bad.
Okay.
Not bad.
Looking towards the future, like we have a ton of ideas coming up for the off season. We've got a bunch of really cool guests, names that we've definitely mentioned on the pod today. So elite names coming up, scheduling in the near future. So please stay tuned. Please subscribe.
Not even for the off season. We've got things coming up before the off season.
We're cooking. We're cooking with grease right now. I'll say that.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah. I'm excited for the off season and exploring like maybe even some non-podcast content, some other just kind of video stuff. Like we've all got some cool ideas. This week we're going to live stream during the Shred game. Is that officially we can announce that?
Confirmed, yeah.
Confirmed. We're going to stream during the Shred Growlers game. So pop on the stream and pop on our stream, and
we'll be watching the chat. So we've been talking to people in the chat of the US Open games. So Oscar, if you're in the chat again, hit us up.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any disagreements, feel free to argue with us on Twitter, or
please argue with us on Twitter.
Oh my god,
please. But honestly, it's like if you're not gonna like give us money, like arguing with us on Twitter is like the next best thing you can do.
Yeah. But yeah, that wraps up the 2022 regular season awards with I'm Open.
Wow. Round of applause for all the contestants, all of you guys, the listeners,
all the winners,
everybody. Joe looks kind of frozen, but
it's okay.
It'll be fine.
All right. Anything else we got to close it out? This was one of our best steps.
I think this is going to be the best pod.
This is fantastic. Yeah.
I'm open.
I'm open.
I'm open.
Yeah.
I'm open.
Joe, you are so open right now.